welcome to this week's episode of the Theater Travel Channel, where drama and destinations meet. Join me as we explore the Polynesian Cultural Center on the beautiful island of Oahu, Hawaii. I'm your host, Erin Royal, and I will be taking you on an educational journey through the rich cultures of time while learning about the effects that drama had in different regions of the world, the various types of alternative theater groups, and the poor and environmental aspects of theater. We'll even talk about a man that is famous for creating and teaching acting elements that we still use today. And if you pay close enough attention, we'll give you a few tips to help you become the best actor that you can be. So sit back, relax, pop a little umbrella in your drink, and feel the spirit of the islands here at the Polynesian Cultural Center. Welcome and aloha! Aloha mai ohana, and welcome to the Polynesian Cultural Center. Today's episode is a particularly special one. You actually have the opportunity to ask questions during the tour. All you have to do is write them down in the comment section below, and our tech support will get to them as fast as possible. So before we officially start our tour, this would be a great time to go to the restroom and grab that drink. Don't worry, I'll wait. Now that you have gotten your drinks and freshened up, we'll be going back in time to World War II, where we will go in depth about the effects that drama had in Europe and America. Taking us back to that time, it was on December 7th, 1941, that the attack on Pearl Harbor happened. It was here in Hawaii where Japanese airplanes made a surprise attack on the U.S. Navy in Pearl Harbor. They destroyed many ships and killed many soldiers. It was this attack that forced the United States to enter World War II. For the theater, the effects of World War II triggered exploration of new artistic directions that had different effects all throughout Europe, America, and the Polynesian Islands. For example, the French had received a lot of money from the government to help the arts to grow, which was basically an investment for them. Germanic and Scandinavian cultures had their states and municipalities fund the arts by making sure that it was taught in school. Those were just some of the examples where they had some minor effects. Where the big effects came from was in England and America. Let us first show you the wondrous effects that it had in England. While there was government funding happening during this time, they focused more on the important aspects of theater, like having festivals dedicated to it, such as the Stratford Festival, later renamed the Royal Shakespeare Company. They also had a parliament that subsidized the formation of the Royal National Theatre, which gave a solid home for theatre in London. The last thing that really affected England was the English Stage Company. This would give the angry young men writers the ability to really express themselves. There was also the abolishing of the Licensing Act. Now on to the effects that drama had on America. America clung to the idea that theater should be entirely self-sustained, which really helped their economy to grow at the time. This was the reason that Broadway was so successful, and there was an off-Broadway and even an off-Broadway that the world knows about. And even though they sound similar, there are actually quite a few differences. Broadway gives us predictable plots that attract large crowds. They're often unionized, expensive, and focus on the performance. And off-Broadway, the plots were a bit edgy, cheaper, and had unique stages and content as it grew, although they became more expensive as time went on. And there was off-Broadway. Those presentations were more out of the way. They presented tons of plays every year and were known to be very edgy and uninhibited. Playwrights were free to create whatever style of drama they would like, and they all had an equal opportunity to have them see the stage in the style that they wanted it to be seen in. In Hawaii, the historic Hawaii Theater was opened, and the newspapers called it the Pride of the Pacific, and considered it the equal in opulence to any theater in San Francisco or beyond. The Honolulu architects, Walter Emery and Marshall Webb, employed elements of neoclassical architecture for the exterior, with inside proudly displaying Corinthian columns, a gilded dome, marble statuary, an art gallery, plush carpets, silk hangings, and a Lionel Waldo mural above the proscenium. After World War II, the arts and attractions that tourists were seeking moved away from official theaters and out into the wilds of the island. Theater changed here in Hawaii to incorporate more of the history and cultures of the people who lived here. Tourists would venture out to the north shore of the island of Oahu, where they were able to participate in a hukilau. The church members here in Laie started this hukilau, which was a fishing festival with a luau feast and Polynesian entertainment. From the beginning, it proved immensely popular. Busloads of visitors drove to Laie in the 1950s to see Polynesian students from the church college put on their production of authentic South Pacific Island songs and dances. About 30 years earlier, when David O. McKay was visiting this North Shore town in 1921, a man named Matthew Cowley, who was finishing his first round of missionary service in New Zealand, gave a speech in Honolulu. While Cowley was in New Zealand, he developed a deep love for the Maori people and other Polynesians. In his speech, he said he hoped to see the day when my Maori people down there in New Zealand will have a little village there at Laie with a beautiful carved house. The Tongans will have a village too, and the Tahitians and Samoans and all those islanders of the sea. Even though Callie did not live to see his dream fulfilled, the vision had been planted in the hearts of others who nurtured and shaped it into reality. In the early years here, Saturday was the only night villagers at the center could draw a big enough crowd to fill the 750-seat amphitheater. But now with their new theater that seats 2,800 guests, it plays every single night except for Sunday. Woo! We have learned a lot so far about decentralizations and subsidizations. However, if you want to gain a little extra knowledge, feel free to read from our tour guide book, The Essential Theater, 10th edition, or leave a comment below for a more personal answer. And wow, it looks like we have some really great comments and questions already, so keep them coming. We'll now be moving on to talking about the poor and environmental theaters. These different parts really blend together, which has helped to create the amazing atmosphere we have today. Poor theater was a term used by Grotowski, who sought to create a theater in which everything that was not absolutely necessary would be eliminated. Grotowski believed that theater should not try to compete with movies and television, but that it should emphasize what makes theater unique. That the most important part was the direct and immediate interaction between actor and audience. Because he believed of the actor's central role in performance, he devoted much of his attention to actor training. Actors had to embody their role in order to reach their full potential. The actors would have to do physical exercises, vocal training, create the onstage magic, and deepen their own resources to remove their own personal psychological inhibitions. They would also have to learn how to create special relationships. This would involve allowing the audience to share the stage with the actors by interacting with them unselfconsciously, such as placing an audience member as an extra. Or on the other hand, they would have to make the audience feel like they were actually in the play by the way they acted, creating a relatable person. Actors were not only working at becoming better at their trade, but they were also interested in finding a creative outlet for their talents, which brings us to alternative theater groups. These creative outlets also stem from social, political, and artistic change that people thought could be brought to power through the theater. It was during the time of the social and political upheaval of the 1960s that theater played an active role. The decentralization of theater in America had encouraged new voices that were using the theater to urge others to think about what they believed in socially, economically, and politically.
Founded in 1947 as an imaginative alternative to the commercial theater, the Living Theater was created and devoted to poetic drama. This theater organization epitomized rebellion against established authority in values, behavior, language, and dress. The actors would treat the stage, space, and time around as if it were real. In fact, in sense for them, it was real because they would portray themselves rather than a character, and they would touch on serious subject matters that were happening in the world around them. A member previously from the Living Theater founded the Open Theater, and even though they share the same concerns for social consciousness and change, they focused more on the aesthetics of actor training, which would help the plays be more realistic because the actor would have to throw his or her own identity away.
Now for what you've been waiting for, acting tips. If you would like to take another quick break, now would be the time. Don't worry, I'll wait again. But this time we'll cut to Cap, who has been entertaining here at the Polynesian Cultural Center for over 40 years in the Samoan village. Watch how he interacts with the audience.
We do the fire knife dancing right over there. Yeah, we dance with the fire and the knife at the same time. In your homes, you teach your children, don't touch the knife, stay away from the fire. In our homes, we put it together and give it to the child. And just watch them suffer. They'll never talk back to you ever again. Only think about it.
Ikomo mai and welcome back. We've seen a lot of performers here today, and those performers have had to practice their instrument over and over again.
Now, I'm not talking about a musical instrument when it comes to acting, but the actor's instrument. The instrument that an actor has to master is themselves, their body, voice, imagination, concentration, and psychological responsiveness. And in addition to mastery of body and voice, actors usually seek more specialized training in dancing, fencing, singing, and other skills that increase their ability to play a wide range of roles. A skill that can definitely help is one of observation and imagination, and actors require this highly developed power. And even if they've mastered those skills, they are unlikely to use those skills effectively on stage unless they have also learned to control them through concentration. Now, before you run out and audition for a theater role from all this amazing information you're learning right now, here are a few basic conventions and vocabulary words you should know before you go. Among the basic conventions is the division of the stage into areas. The term upstage indicates the area toward the rear of the stage, and downstage refers to the area toward the front of the stage. These terms actually date back from the time when the back of the stage actually did slope upward away from the audience and downward toward it. Stage right and stage left refer to the actor's right and left when facing the auditorium. Full front means facing the audience. One half or profile means a 90-degree turn away from the audience, while full back means turned completely away. Actors may also be told to dress the stage, which means you should move to balance the stage picture. You also may be asked to lift a line of dialogue, which means to draw attention to it.
Now that's just the tip of the pineapple. Let's learn some more acting tips from the master himself, Stanislavski. He was widely recognized as an outstanding character actor, and the many productions he directed garnered him a reputation as one of the leading theater directors of his generation. He created the Stanislavski Method, which has helped many actors and still helps many actors today. And you get to hear about some of those elements on today's tour.
Understanding the world of your character is absolutely vital to creating a believable performance. Stanislavski used this idea to create given circumstances. The first step towards doing this is going through the play and writing down all the facts about your character you can find. And make sure to focus on your real emotion memory to keep it authentic. We hope you enjoyed learning in beautiful Hawaii with the Theater Travel Channel. Mahalo and aloha. Join us next week as we explore the opera houses in Italy.